Hello, hello guys, hello. It is I, Tasso, and today we are on the the very definitely no more surprises final part of Citizen Sleeper. So yeah, so right now all that's really left in the game is to prepare for the Terminal Flux event. So I mean the Flux event, which is like the Terminal Flux, I suppose. But yeah, so there's just that. So there's actually not much left to the game. There's just like 12 turns left, 12 cycles. So I don't anticipate uh this part not having playing this for much longer, probably an hour at most, maybe. So yeah, so like since if there's going to be some time, I might just switch to Star Rail after I'm done with this. If I mean I'll still have to see how things are, but yeah. I might switch to Star Rail. I want to do like the underground treasure mining event thingy. Because I have not finished the one before reset, so I want to do that. But yeah. I also have Kafka's companion quest, which I have also not done. So we'll see. Anyway. Let's get right into it. Oh shit. There we go. 12 more cycles, or 11 I think, because we already used one. Oh shit, I just noticed, give me a sec. The chat is not showing again. Can I use this? Okay, there we go. It's working now. Anyway, yes. So we have to. So I'm choosing to protect the eye and not evacuate it. So we need to seed the systems. Power routing. Okay, I need. Okay. Life support. Good thing I have all these spores. There we go. As you leave, the slate peak gave you chirps insistently. You check and see a message. Found a possible entry to the core facility in the low end. Meet me there, ASAP, peak. A blinking marker gives their position as on the free spoke side of the main block. Better head to the low end. Alright. There we go. You arrive at the coordinates given by Peak Slate, a round down but active corner of the low end, where a short glass roof alley turns off from one of the main thoroughfares. You wait in the mouth of the alley, leaning against the wall and watching the street life go by. Children hop across grids scratched onto metal floor plates, playing games of their own devising, while older residents sit and talk or play Talva. It is hard to believe that all of this is a threat. It seems so concrete, so real. How can some intangible protocol erase all this? As you are watching, a voice calls out to you from one of the Talva tables set up along the way. Oh, it's Castor! You move a little closer and recognize the sitting player immediately. Castor sits, Talva pieces and board ready in front of him, smiling at you. Sleeper! My partner has not arrived for our usual game. Come, please, take her place. He beckons you over, standing and nudging you to sit down with him. I feel like definitely protecting the eye is like the golden ending. Because you get to, like, you're definitely beating all these previous NPCs who you've interacted before. So like there was Feng earlier and now there's Castor. So that's pretty cool. A rematch is in order. You owe me a game. Almost immediately, Castor begins the game. Everyone on the eye knows how to play Talva. The methodical movement of the counters across their triangular points are ready fit for the rhythm of life on the ramshackle space station. Most games begin in the same way, with each player moving with independence, focused on achieving their optimal early game setup. But there is a moment in each game where it becomes necessary to notice the other player, to anticipate the crossing of the counters across the board. A point of contact when routine becomes negotiation, and negotiation becomes conflict. As this moment arrives, The subtle shift in the texture of the interaction. Castor begins to speak. I find myself surprised by you continuously, Sleeper. He looks over his glasses at you. The way you conduct yourself, for example, suggests an anxious refrain, a defensive protective quality, but in your Talva game, he pauses to move a counter. I see only risk. Have you been watching me? Castor sighs. Let's not be paranoid. You are aware of my interest in you, are you not? Risk is of course necessary to play Talva. To move a piece is to expose it, but it should be done with calculation. With proper analysis, then if the piece is taken, Castor moves a counter, taking one of yours with a practice swap, placing it beside the board. It is already accounted for. But you move forward with abandon, as if risk was just a secondary effect of action, a consequence, not its primary guide. He gestures for you to take your turn. A cause. I play my way. He smiles. Indeed, that's all I seek. You move your piece. This locks you into being reactive, if you don't mind me saying so. You are responding, which means you are being led. He leans back to consider the board. This place, it mirrors you, Slipper. It is also reactive. It was born from a crisis, the collapse of Solheim, and ever since it has been reacting without any central guiding principle. No analysis, no calculation. Just look at our refugee crisis, for example. It is all reaction, all risk-taking, and little risk calculation. At first I found the chaos enlivening, especially when trying to track its outcomes, but now I find it exhausting. He laughs. It always amuses me that this piece is literally spun from the rim. Below this very stack of habitation blocks is the most important control facility on the eye. Spun from the rim, he laughs again. What better metaphor could you find for this order? His face drops. But why am I telling you that? That facility is precisely why you are here. He smiles an unsettlingly warm smile. You feel a shiver through your body as if something has changed in the air. But how do you know about that? No words come out of your mouth. You feel removed from yourself, watching from behind frosted glass. Your eyes dart side to side. Inertia sets in. Castor is still smiling. The risk you are planning to take here, Sleeper, is not yours to take. Castor's tone is unshifted. He speaks as if this is still some casual conversation between passing acquaintances. You are leaping towards a chaotic outcome with no respect for risk. You see, calculating outcomes. That's my specialty. That's why I am here. I was hired as a conduit for risk, as a collector of data that might pertain to its arrival. He removes his glasses to clean them, and you see something flicker across their surface, a shimmering stream of characters. Oh, this station is already theirs. Solheim's collects meant a corporate fire sale, assets change hands. My employer said that bought out the entire system, and for the past decades has been its one valid owner. Oh fuck, Castor! Castor! You are a triple, what do you call it? Triple agent, there we go. He polishes his glass diligently. But to possess this system, the H1 system, he pauses, Helion, to you, well, that is a matter of risk. Of how much force, how much cost, how much conflict a clearance would take. He replaces his glasses. That risk must be calculated against the favorable outcome. In short, how much is this place worth to us? For a long time, the answer was nothing. H1 could offer nothing that would warrant the risk. But the markets change, the demand shift, and Senate stat. We analyze, we follow, we respond. He puts his glasses back on his face. H1 is about to become the most important system in this part of the galaxy. He glances around. The lone Khan channel operating within range of 7 or so newly surveyed resource-rich systems. The frontier town that fits the gold rush, so to speak. So here we are, re-evaluating the risk, reclaiming our property, starting up the Khan channel and clearing the way for what comes next. He sits back, looking at the board. He gestures. Your move. Senate is causing the flux. You manage to force out the words. Castor looks a little surprised. Senate is acting to reclaim their property from illegal occupation, to re-establish H1 as a foremost colony of a surrogacy program. But of course, I do not need to explain myself to you. But in the role as an analysis, in my calculations, I see great promise in you, in your ability to enter systems, to shift them to your will. Not every sleeper has this capacity. I assume you know that. He smiles. It truly is a wonderful happenstance of Ascent Arp's technology. I imagine even they are not fully aware of it. He takes his move, claiming another of your pieces, and as you watch, you realize that oh god, I know. My friend taught me how to pronounce this word. inevitability of his victory. There we go. I hope that works. I will make you an offer to come willingly or come by force. The station will collapse, we can be sure of that. But your ability to work with data, well, for an analyst, that is very intriguing. He pauses to push his glasses up his nose. Very intriguing indeed. He glances around. Come with me as a collaborator or as a prisoner. Consider the risk on one hand, almost certain death, on the other, a possible future. Analyst or not, you must see it. Speak now, sleeper. The game is forfeit. You must see that. He holds out a hand. You are of value. You are needed. You feel a slight release in the inertia that grips you, enough to allow you to speak, to respond. You realize that you are already in Castor's hands, that you cannot move from this place if you wanted. Sleeper? You hear the familiar voice above the crowds. Sleeper, I'm here. You are unable to turn your head to see Pig, but you notice Castor's eyes following them as they come up from behind you. Then you see Castor's eyes glance down, towards his hands, concealed beneath the table. Sleeper! Pig comes around the front of you and waves a hand in your face. We were supposed to be meeting, remember? They glance at Castor. Sorry, am I interrupting something? You cannot speak. Castor shoots Pig a wide smile. Oh shit. Hello, you must be a friend of Sleeper. You watch one of his hands lift, close to his body. Some dark shape concealed in it. A weapon. You try to scream, to shout, but Castor's attention remains partially on you. And while it does, you can do nothing. Pig glances at your static form. What's happening here, Sleeper? They put a hand on your shoulder. Are you okay? As Pig stares into your eyes, you see Castor behind, his hand lifting, the dark object unfolding, and in the split moment it does, you feel his attention shifting to Pig, shifting away from you. As you do, you feel the inertia lifting, and you know this is the only moment you will have to act. Shove. You lurch forward wildly, like a sprung trap. Your head strikes Pig's chest and then carries them back into Castor. Somewhere, some digital screech is echoing along through the walkway. They tumble together, and the object in Castor's hand skitters across the floor. You realize the screech is you. You get to your feet, grab Pig, and run. You run as high as you can, the scream chasing you down the walkway as you shove through the residents, Pig dragged behind. You run from the cold grip of whatever power Castor had over you, the signals that locked you into this body of yours, that broke the connections and crawl up your spine. Eventually you stop, both you and Pig collapsing, heaving, breathing into the cold metal floor. When they are able to speak, Pig asks you to explain, and you tell them everything Castor told you, about Senate Stat, about their claim on the Helion system, about their reactivation of the Khan channel, and the Helion system growing importance. It flows out of you in desperate gulps, unable to believe your own mouth as you hear these words coming back to you. All you feel is the need to push back against the cold hand on your shoulder, the vast cold eye that has turned to look at the system, the ghost limbs of corporate control that are extending their reach. Pig is quiet for a long time, then they speak. We have to finish this, Sleeper. They meet your eye. We have to complete the seeding of the systems. We have to set Gardner free. You're right. If the choice is between Gardner and these people, I would choose Gardner every time. Their eyes are cold and steely. I would choose anything over them. You stand together. The final control facility is here. I found it. Pig looks at you grimly. I can take you as soon as you are ready. Time is almost up. This is the only shot you have. Let me... There we go. Crack the facility. My energy. Okay, let's eat. I have many Matsutakes. I'll be fine. Sleeper, here! Pig calls to you from across the flickering corridor. An elevator to the core. They smile. This is it. There's been a long set of cycles hunting for a path through the derelict layers of old Solheim offices and workshops. But finally, here it is, the path down to the core. You rush over to peek. As you do, the doors grind open, the dingy-looking elevator flickering as they do. You look at Pig, who nervously gestures for you to get in. Step in. The elevator bounces a little but stays stable. You glance back to Pig to see Pig watching you nervously. They follow you in sheepishly, just a little nervous. Pig reaches over and punches the button for the lowest level, flinching a little as the doors grind close. The elevator sets off, screeching through the floors as it does at an unsettlingly loud volume. I feel more comfortable if you spoke. Pig raises their voice over the noise. It is not going to be a short treat. Have heard of Stat? Pig thinks, maybe, once. They frown. Could have been mentioned in an XPR news packet, the kind the central administration sent out to us. Something about market analytics, I think. They shake their head. When you have spent so much time trying to forget your past, this stuff isn't easy to dredge up. How's Ash? Pig pauses. I was thinking more like small talk, elevator talk. They sigh. She is packing. They rub their eyes. Once Ash has her mind set on something, well, you know her now. You know what I mean. The screeching of the elevator fills the silence. Will you leave with her? Pig thinks for a moment. I don't know, Sleeper. I honestly don't know. Part of me wants to run, to keep running for as long as I can. I am used to that. But another part is done with that. It's done with denying my past, my history. If I ever want to feel complete, to feel settled, don't I need to somehow resolve the person I was with the person I am now? Pig goes quiet, and you do too. There are too many possible questions, too many possibilities before you. It just is easier to get on with the task at hand and leave the consequences for later. The elevator screams to a stop, and the doors ping open with a strangely cheerful beep. You glance at Pig. Time to move on. You both walk out into an atrium, still lit by some ragged-looking light panels on the ceiling, one simulating a summer sky, now degraded into a flickering blue and white tapestry of glitches. Pig crosses quickly, making a beeline for the large doors on the far side, where you can make out a fading sign in massive peeling letters. Central Control. You follow, helping them level open the partially powered doors, until the motors kick in and they spring to life, thudding open. You and Pig tumble through across the damp metal. As you stand, you are greeted by flickering lights, thousands of them. A vast cylindrical stack of servers, processors and transmitters dominates the center of the room. Its flickering LED is reflected in the scattered puddles that surround it. Despite the decay, the warped panels and water leaks, it is still running, just as it has for decades and decades. Since the station was first spun up, you wonder how long it has been since anyone has been in this room. You exchanged wide-eyed looks with Pig. This place is the still living piece of history. What is this place? Pig stares. One of the central facilities of the station. The primary one for the rim, it looks like. They shake their head. The heart of this place. Pig takes a handful of mulch out from a small bag. It glitters with spores. Now, we seed this place. They cross to the server and start packing the mulch deep into the machinery, pushing fistfuls deep into the gaps in the paneling, laying it across hardware. As you watch them doing this, you feel a tug, a thread pulling at you. You approach a vast piece of cylindrical hardware that Pig is stuffing mulch into. You run your hands across its plated metal surface and watch the lights blink in response. As you pass, you hear a whirring, like a physical disk drive starting up. Lean closer. You put your face against the metal, smell the hot air venting from the hardware. Hard was the right choice of word, you think. The whirring shifts alternating, speeding up, slowing down, and as you listen, it modulates into a voice. Sleeper, you freeze. You are here. For a moment you are afraid, but something in the tonality of the voice is familiar. Navigator. Another drive picks up, and another, giving the voice a richer, multi-tonal sound. I had forgotten what it felt like to speak like this. The drive skipped. There is a certain quality to it, a certain physicality. Why contact me like this? The drive squawk in unison. Do you imagine the Flux, the shadow protocol, that they were just a problem for the people of the station? A high whining begins. They are all the more dangerous to us. I have been hiding once more, jumping from network to avoid the shadow as it eats up notes. A low rumble. I had thought my hiding days were done. For the moment, I have found myself a safe haven here in the core. The shadow has yet to breach this facility, though there is a temporary state of affairs. The rumble stops. My predictions do not point to good outcomes. We have a plan. You explain to Navigator about Pig's plan, about Gardener's resistance to the shadow, and how by seeding key systems you will protect them from its advance. The drives hum thoughtfully as you speak. A desperate plan that drives world, but appropriate given the probability of total collapse. I am not sure what will be worse for us. Hiding from the erasure of the Shadow Protocol or the assimilation of Gardener. The drives pause to reset. But we owe you our freedom. I will do what I can to guide the Gardener into the systems you have seeded. A pause. It is correct to do so. Be careful. The drives quick in affirmation. You have notable persistence, Sleeper. Even with such poor probabilities of success, I will be curious to see the outcome. The drives squeal, the motors giving out. This cannot be sustained much longer. Go. I will be fine. A final squeak of affirmation, and then the drive skitter and slow to a halt. You step back from the towering cylinder, staring at this vast piece of Solheim hardware. This whole place is built from ghosts, you think, from old protocols and company hardware, from engine that drove decades of corporate expansion. Is the eye proof that they can be shifted, bent, forced into new configurations that allow for new ways of living? Or is its inevitable collapse proof that these engines of expansion can never be anything other than a corrupt foundation? It seems to depend on who you ask. Done! Pig shout breaks your line of thought. The heat and the dam should help the spores germinate quickly. If we are lucky, there is enough time for some growth before we reconnect the Greenway. They glance at you. That's it. Or the facility seeded, they sigh. We either just ensure the eye's survival or stuff a whole lot of salt into one of its most important computers. They laugh quickly. Shall we go? They start to head back towards the doors and the elevator beyond. Take one last look. You wait for a moment, following the blinking lights. You wonder what might be tucked away in such a structure, what secrets it might hold, what histories. It's an intriguing prospect, but while you watch the lights you realize something. If the eye is to become anything more than an offshoot, a temporary structure, it must form its own history, its own stories, stronger than anything that came before. Unlocking these Solheim secrets won't do that. But the persistence, the stubborn drive to survive that is in the veins of every person in this place, that will. And that is what you are trying to save. You turn your back on the core and follow Pig back into the elevator. As you ride the car back up, Pig raises their voice over the screeching. I'm going to Founder's Gap to finalize the connection. At the moment I'm ready, I'll let you know and we'll let the Gardener out. The sooner the better. Pig furrows their brow. If we wait until the final cycle, it'll be too late. If you want to help speed things up, go work with the flotilla. We can't make the connection until we know they are ready to go. Pig swallows. Unleashing Gardener could affect them too if we aren't careful. What happens then? Pig shrugs. I don't honestly know. Maybe Gardener takes over the station. Maybe they don't even react. They sigh. I can't think about it any longer. You ride the rest of the way in silence. When you reach the top, you go your separate ways, but before you do, Pig embraces you, burying their face in your shoulder. You stand there together for a moment, spinning with the eye, moving relentlessly towards an unknown future, and then they let go and slip away, the pressure of their heart fading like a bruise as you begin to leave. Alright. So we finished that. I mean, we can... also prep the pilgrim just in case. We do have time, I suppose. Let me eat. Go. As you stop to rest in one of the pilgrim seat's cavernous base, hopping up to sit on a supply crate, you hear a now familiar voice behind you. Sleeper, glad you're here, Soul's suit hisses as he clanks up towards you. I knew you'd help us out. We sure do appreciate everything you do for us. No worries. I do mean it, Sleeper. He looks away down the bay to where sparks jump from welding torches. It's a grim job to be doing without a few friends around. Soul settles beside you, flinching a little, but making himself comfortable at the crate. Seems the word got out, this way or that. He nods towards the welders a little way off, one of them wearing shipyard overalls. We have people flowing from the eye, looking for a place. In truth, it's more than I thought, Soul sighs. Which means more mouths to feed, more bodies to house, more people to protect. Can we do it? Soul frowns. We'll do what we can, as always. I'm not sure any of it will be enough. He looks down. We were supposed to stay here, not keep running. Soul waves away the thought. Don't listen to me. He gives you a sideways glance. I'm just a tired old man. He stretches. I have something to ask though. Something new? Soul shakes his head. Not so much. Old matters, mostly. With all these evacuees, we need a change in plan. She shrugs. Pilgrim's Seat can't do it alone. We need the others to help out. We can carry them, house them, but that's all. Now, you settled down the folks from Amber Step and they send us supplies grown in those dust houses of theirs. If you get more, he nods to himself. And then the song crews, he rubs his chin. What we need from them is scouting and security. We don't need that docking access of theirs. But with some careful scavenging, they could be our fleet. These folks, they know you, Sleeper. You earned their trust already. He put a hand on your shoulder. I sent my request out, and they seem to be complying, but I need you out there making sure the work gets done. Time is our greatest enemy now. Soul stares into the distance. I need you out there to speeding things up, of course. Soul nods. Alright then. He climbs off his crate. His suit hissing as he does. Think of it this way, either way you won't have to deal with me much longer. He smiles his uneven smile. Unless, of course, you were planning to come for the trip. I don't know. Soul winks. I'll leave it with you. Soul waves a hand and starts off towards the base entrance. The crackling sound of the welding quickly covering up his clanking suit. You watch the workers, the shipyard contractor, chatting among them, already looking like he belongs. You push the thoughts of escape, of home, and of the future to the back of your mind and get up. There's always more to do. You head to the other ships in the flotilla to see what can be done. Actually, wait. Yes. I have not finished this. What am I doing? Go. Protect. The docking access is in chaos when you arrive. The staccato burst of welding torches, the shouts of crews gathering, the rapid flow of supplies and kit from dock to dock. You can tell already that the news of the flotilla's imminent departure has reached its place before you. Time to join the Exodus, Sleeper? Petter approaches you from one of the working crews, a smile on his face and a lightness in his step you haven't seen before. What's happening? Petter gestures to the chaos. The singers are riding, Sleeper. Petter eyes you. I suppose you are here on Soul's orders again. He winks at you. Nothing Amber's Herf like to do more than ordering people around. I'm here by choice. Fair enough, just your timings always seem to be a cycle or two after we get some requests from her ship. He shrugs an exaggerated shrug. Must be a coincidence. Well, so has it lucky anyway. His request for us to dismantle the Axis and be the vanguard for the flotilla's onward journey to the Starward Belt aligns perfectly with our plans. What plans? To leave this damn place, of course. We've been prepping ever since the cordon collapse. If we can build our escape and make the Hearth ships think we are complying with their orders at the same time, then it's a 2-in-1 for us. Peter shakes his head. Those idiots will never see it coming. You are leaving the flotilla? We are our own flotilla, Slipper. Peter looks away at the busy Axis. We aren't going to tie ourselves to Hearth and Step any longer. Why would we? Stay silent. Peter looks down. Look, nothing against you or your Sleeper, but we have to get out from under the shadow of Step and Song, and this is the time. Peter grimaces. We won't let the Flux catch us again. Not a chance. And for the first time you see fear in his eyes. Want to help us make that leap? Grab a torch, talk to a crew. You're welcome to it. Peter sniffs. Every person here is free to prove themselves. I'll help when I can, I guess. Peter nods. Just stop on the road, Sleeper. I'm afraid that's all this was. Peter glances out past the docking axis, through the outer windows to the stars beyond. A lot of space out there for those willing to take it. He looks you in the eye. I hope you'll be around before we go, but if not, he smiles. Stay strong. And with that, Peter taps you on the shoulder and heads back to his crew, with a purpose, a direction visible in every step of his rapid stride. I knew you'd come. Aki greets you outside the dust house, her eyes bright as always. You are very welcome here, as always. Good to see you, Aki. Aki smiles. And you, Sleeper. Aki puts her hand on your arm. Walk with me. And she guides you past the dust houses. You look inside and see the other members of the crew working in the orange dust, planting and tending to the Step ecosystem. We are to be suppliers for the evacuees, I am sure you have heard. We will put the dust houses to use. She leads you past the dust house where the dust is less. The orange glow not as bright, the air a little more clean. We are adapting slowly, but we are adapting. We have to produce food, clothes, necessary things for the journey ahead. She smiles. The plants of Step are once again sustaining a population, and that makes me proud. Aki stops at the half-empty dust house, scoured off his sand. It is being filled with mulch. We brought this from the Greenway. She stares at the green and brown. A strange sight, even to you now that you are used to the amber dust of Step. I admit, it is hard work for us. We are not familiar with these plants. Can you help us? Aki meets your eye. I will do my best. Thank you. She nods solemnly. I know that the eye is suffering, that it is at risk. I know what that is like. Thank you. I wish I had a lesson to share with you from our lost Step. She shakes her head. But for the moment, I cannot see what that might be. She gathers herself. If it gives you meaning, the work here is steady and worthwhile. If you do not have time, she smiles a weak smile. I will not blame you. Hold on to your memories, but not too tightly. She pauses. Sadness will not sustain you. She falls silent, and you both watch the work in the dust house for a while. You can already see a grinning fringe of moss on the mulch in the dust house, the first sign of new life. Will you soon be like the people of Step living behind the home? Or will you be stubborn and hold your ground despite what it might mean? You wait a little longer with Aki, the moment a welcome suspension in time, a rare moment in this rush towards an end. You glance at Aki, and she puts her hand on your shoulder in solidarity. After a short while, Aki sighs. It is good to see you, Sleeper. Perhaps we will see each other again before we depart. She walks away, fingertips brushing against the glass of the dust house windows. Aki turns back for a moment, as if she wants to say something, then thinks better of it, and turns away. Yeah, let's help the others. Why do you give me 2? Alright, time to rest. I guess it's really like 40 minutes, oh well. Let's help Aki. You sit in one corner of the dust house and inspect your work. This dust house, where once the plants from the greenway and some of the steppe species intermingle, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space in curving terraces, the pale knots of steppe silk freckled with yellowing light, the child symbiotes. It is a hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining of fungal threads and dust-caked roots and feel a little glow of pride at what has been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust house hiss open, and assuming it is Aki, turn to greet her. Oh, Sleeper, I should have known you'd be here. Rico smiles a warm smile, leaning on the crutch. You must be one of the most green-fingered people on the station. Rico! Now, has it been so long? She smiles a wry smile. No need for any drama. I met some of the steppe refugees in the greenway. They were gathering plants, and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly. She smiles to herself. Aki was very apologetic, but I told them they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me that I'd be welcome to see, and well, I thought I'd take her up on the offer. She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem. I have to say, I'm glad I did. I'm glad too. I can see that. Rico slims over to you. She holds out a hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Rico's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You show her how the steppe silk knots help provide a strong base for the fungal and lychol growths, and how the dust mixes with the spores. You show her the different the different species of steppe tubers, and the way they feed the soil with nutrients that help her herbaceous greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye, Sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the Flux event hit, and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all. You glance at her and see the glossiness in her eyes, and I think I've decided. What you have done here, what Aki and the other steppe refugees have done here, is incredible. A whole new ecosystem, built from the strange, artificial chained remains of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds. I am of the eye. A tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am entwined with the station. I am old growth. I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accelerate with every cycle. She frowns. It blurs together, separates, overlaps, comes back to me in strange ways. The time I do have, the time I want to spend on the eye, in the greenway. That's time I want to spend on the eye, in the greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day I lie in those fields and not get back up. She smiles. The tear tracks down both cheeks, and when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. I'll miss you. Rico smiles. The feeling is mutual, Sleeper. She wipes her eye and turns to you. But that's enough of me blubbering on about it. She furrows her brow. I want to know is what you are planning. I'm staying. Rico smiles. We all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper. To know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you decide to act in the manner you know. But you also have to ask yourself why it is so. She places a trembling hand on yours. Don't neglect that. Oh! She suddenly lifts both hands. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of sporing club heads with carefully preserved root systems. I like to plant these. If you go, you need them. She looks down at her feet, and if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit. She frowns. I can offer that at least. Thank you. She nods. Don't thank me. These are yours by right. Rico stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the club heads out and bits them into the soil there, with precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper. I'll be around. I'll be a while, she calls back, not looking away from the job at hand. See you around. She says it casually, but there's a note of finality to her speech. See you around. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective flock, back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It is beautiful. It's beautiful. She's looking through the observation window, and the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look happy together. She spots Rico with her hands in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours? More than that. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the greenway. I should go in and welcome her. She pauses. Are you leaving us? For now. Aki sighs. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layers of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path. She smiles. A farewell from my world. I wish you the same. She nods and smiles, one last warm smile. Before turning and entering the dust house, you watch as she just walks inside, Rico turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist, and you see her pointing to the club heads, asking questions. You are unable to hear them, but despite that, you can easily imagine the measured, even tones laced with excitement that Rico is using to explain the club hits, the green way, and much, much more. You turn, leaving them to their conversation. Your step is light, and despite the burdens you carry and the smile Rico and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Next I'll do that, I suppose. Hey, buddy. Continue the self-repair. One more. Oh yeah, I need food. Time left, but we are making good progress. There we go. Docking exists a little more than the shell. Everything that could have been pulled from its interior, every arm not used for docking has been cut away. What remains is a Spartan void, with a patchwork of flooring that allows movement. Piles of unusable material are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. You haven't seen Pater since you last spoke, and now you are realizing that you probably never will. There are plans to be made, escapes to plot, on the shadow of Hearth to escape. On the cycle the flotilla leaves, these ships will disperse too, the moons of amber splitting out on different orbits. The chaos has become a quiet diligence now, as the time for departure is near. Crews cross the axis from ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice, perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors in hushed tones, or to debate why they haven't left yet and whether they should. Among these single crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often shorn heads, you see the occasional refuge, a paying engineer, or a replacement engineer or pilot, perhaps come to the eye to seek fortune with the singers. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these editions. Some more, and you can't help but wish that whatever reason brings them to throw in their lot with the single crews, they will have 6 passage. You feel a strange attachment to these citizens of the eye, setting out for the first time. And then one of them catches your eye, crossing the axis with a crew. They're carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Tala, you freeze for a second. What is she doing here? She glances around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eye. Her face brightens immediately. Sleeper! Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet and embracing you without thinking. What are you doing here? She briefly glances at the bag. Sleeper. She pauses. She pauses again, folding her arms defensively. I'm going to the starboard belt. She waits for a response nervously. What didn't you say? She sighs. Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper? My brother? You think back to your Grail blood conversations in the back of the Bantayan. He came here with me, with my family, when we were little. Just after we left Sinza. She bites her lip. He left when we were both teenagers, hop on some spacer crew heading for the starboard belt. She sighs. I'm an idiot. She shakes her head, and I'm going after him. She looks down, not sure what to add. Alone? She looks at you. I guess so. I really don't know if it makes sense, or if it's the right thing, but ever since I heard that was where the refugee flotilla was going, well, I couldn't stop thinking about him. How did you hear? I work in a bar, she grins. I've heard every bit of gossip this place has to offer. Speaking of the Bantayan, she meets your eye. Someone will have to run it. She leaves a long pause. I mean, I can ask Francis. He'll be happy to, or one of the others, she blurts out. And of course, if you are living with the flotilla, or someone else, it'd be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes. It's no pressure. It's fine whichever way I was thinking. I could run the bar. Tala's not smiling. I think so. I mean, you can take a second. But, she glances at the crew she was walking with 2 who are chatting a little way away. There's exactly not much time. So, considering that, she grabs the key hanging around her neck. The key to the Bantayan. Do you want to do it? Yes. Tala leaps forward and embraces you again. Thank you, Sleeper. I couldn't be leaving it in better hands. She pulls the key from around her neck and places it around yours as if presenting a medal. Remember to lock up, especially the back. And remember to empty the still if you are leaving things closed for a few cycles. And she stops herself. I won't be gone forever, of course. She blinks away a tear. I can come back and check in. Maybe once I find my brother. She pauses, unable to finish the thought. She smiles at you, and you can see the weight lifting off her shoulders. Her eyes are already drifting towards the crew, the ship, the next big thing. She's ready. I better be going. She nods at the crew nearby. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulder. She looks down the curve of the eye towards the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything you helped me with. She nods. I wouldn't have been able to leave if I hadn't made things work here. She adjusts the bag. That wouldn't have let me. See you around. She nods. Hope so. Then Tala turning back to the crew who will carry her to the starboard belt. You watch her go, and despite the departure, it is hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and you hope her brother is somewhere on the right path. You hold the key in your hand, the metal still a little warm from Tala's body. You turn it over in your fingers, thinking about how it feels like a tool and a burden. You can still lock up and leave, you figure, but now that would feel like breaking something fragile. And if you stay, well, who knows what this little metal promise might grow into. Alright, we'll continue with this. They just keep coming. Perhaps the Flux events scared enough people that they really believe that the Eye will collapse. Perhaps they are sick of revenge, of the Council's infighting and the Hardliners. Or perhaps they just want to take a chance at a new future, at a place that is not anywhere but here. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come on the flotilla shuttles, on their own ships, however they can. You've seen so many faces pass that they are almost meaningless now, a parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people, lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them to the berths you helped build. Some of them recalled from your touch, still unfamiliar with Sleepers. Others treat you with pity. Some with hate, snatching back their bags and storming off. Still you help. Still, you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you. You don't look for Soul. You know he is busy, just like you, trying to make this thing work, trying to fit as many people as will come onto the pilgrim seat. You know you will see him before this is over. You keep working, but there's something in the back of your mind, something eating away at you. You try to push it to the back of your thoughts, but it keeps coming back. The eye is over. That is the thought. That's the eye. That the eye, even if the Flux doesn't get it, is on its way out. How can it survive when these floods of people are leaving it behind? It is a thought that troubles you, because it makes you question why you have held on here for so long, in a place that seems so temporary for so many people. Are you just a stubborn idiot, someone who didn't get the message? Or are you strong, committed for lasting the storm, for seeing the collapse coming and facing it head on? Because there is something you are sure of now. This place, like all places, is temporary. And as each phase passes you, each family packs up and gets on board the pilgrim seat, it feels ever more temporary, ever more fragile. Which means it either desperately needs protecting or it desperately needs to be left behind. The choice is yours. I have finished everything that I can, I suppose, at this point. Yeah, that's all the points I have now. Not funny that this is still here. I guess now it's just time to see how this ending plays out. Pig slate chirps in your pocket. You take it out. A message. The connection is ready. Meet me at the Founder's Gap, Greenway side. Pig. You clench your jaw. It is time. Let me go eat. You find Pig waiting near where you first met, at the entrance of the docking tunnel for the Founder's Ferry. They are leaning beside the wall in the flickering light, and you realize now how differently they look from when you first met. There is a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also a solidity, a sense of purpose and self-knowledge. They look concrete, for want of a better word, solid. Sleeper. They spot you and a small smile crosses their face. Glad you came. I wouldn't be anywhere else. The smile grows. Crunch time. They shake their head in disbelief. Let's go. The break in the connection is up ahead. They walk away from the docking tunnel into a ragged, half-crushed corridor that descends into darkness. They poke their slate and the torch flicks on, lighting the way ahead. As you descend through the layers of the broken edge of the eye, Pig talks, filling the silence. I had to hunt all over this part of the eye to find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buck metal of the wall, stooping under the angled ceiling. This hole, the gap, got knocked in the eye when Solheim collapsed. It's impossible to tell who did it, but my guess is they tried to scuttle the eye. If Solheim couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station, well, no one could. Pig ducks through a fractured passageway with hanging wires like vines. So this place has always been on borrowed time. I managed to weave together the old connections and run a new patch down to where the main line still runs through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile, just like keeping those old XPR platforms running. Asher would be proud if she bothered to help. As Pig goes quiet, the corridor opens out into a wider, twisted passage with compartments on either side thick with wiring. Here, this is a connection point. You can see where Pig has leveled off a panel and hooked up a thick cable to the existing hardware. As thick as a tree trunk, it snakes off into the dark ahead, its yellow rings making it look like some sort of huge and exotic serpent. You did all this? Pig nods. It was an interesting challenge, plus it helped me keep my mind off things. Pig smiles. Pig smiles a weak smile. There's a lot I prefer not to think about. They both stand there, staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one, the ends separate, fitted in with multi-pin male and female connectors, embraced inside a metal framework with a scissoring mechanism. Bring them together, seal them, and the greenway will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Pig shifts their weight onto one hip, pushing hair out of their eyes. I feel like this should be more momentous, like there should be some sort of ritual or ceremony. They pause. Or someone should start from doing this crazy thing. Just do it. Pig nods. Pull the plaster off, right? Pull the plaster off, right? Okay. They hold both sides of the supporting framework, ready to scissor it close. Here we go. Pig wrenches the framework close, and the connectors stung together with a sound that echoes down the road corridor, into the dark on both sides. Both you and Pig wait with bated breath, unsure what it is you are waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning, or lurch on its axis, for the power to go out, or a shockwave to run through the corridor to the rim? You meet Pig's eyes, and suddenly they burst out laughing. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? They put a hand to their forehead. I feel like we just planted a tree and are expecting it to burst off the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that has been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight, crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running the wires, like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and writhes there, like liquid roots. Pig sees the look in your eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least, but it is everywhere, and now it is out. It can't be put back in, that much is clear. You imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil, toting up the gardener and their chorus, the gaps filling with a burbling, constant, growing life. Pig stares at you, waiting for something. Anything. Gardener is free. Pig nods slowly and closes their eyes. They go to speak, but the words fail them. Suddenly, Pig's leg chirps. They jump and scramble for it, almost dropping it in the process, but when they stare at it, a look of confusion crosses their face. Is it the gardener? Pig's mouth falls open. It's Ash. They swallow. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they have turned away and are moving back up the passageway, back towards the entrance. Stay silent. They don't turn, don't respond, and you watch their silhouette, lit by the slate's torch, disappear rapidly around a corner. You take out the slate Pig gave you and turn on the torch. The wires all around you look like pale roots in the harsh light, and you turn away from them. They are gardens now. You walk your way back through the corridors, retracing your steps. You imagine Pig panic running towards the cordon, realizing that their greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they'll be able to persuade Ash to stay. If Ash is going, you think, then the flotilla must be leaving too. The thought makes you shiver in the darkness, and you push it away. You are not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires, the low ceilings, and make your way back out into the lit corridors of the Fountain's Ferry stop. Castor is waiting for you. He holds up his hands. Now, sleeper, no need to fear. He raises his eyebrows. I need you to understand it was my mistake to try and force you, a miscalculation. Get lost. I understand you are angry. There's a reasonable reaction. He pushes his glasses up his nose. I only ask that you continue in the spirit of being reasonable and allow me to state my case. I won't hold you here, sleeper, Castor says to the side, but I wish to speak. Listen. You stop, giving Castor his opportunity. Castor nods. At first, I thought that if you excuse the turn of phrase, taking possession of your particular talent was the opportunity. He smiles a broad smile. But you are more than that. I understand that now. Your arrival on the station, your ability to touch the networks, this makes you the very definition of a wildcard. He touches the rim of his glasses. Senate stats analysis, my analysis, could have never accounted for you. This system, this Helion system, is about to experience a significant change, about to open up the Senestat bailiffs, the Conway's claimants, and every industry and element an active Khan channel brings. Yet this very cycle you let another wildcard free, Gardener. I have to admit, this development makes me afraid, sleeper. It makes me afraid why intelligence like this was sacrificed to protect itself. Or what? Atrocities you might commit through madness, and yet... Castor's eyes glint. What a compelling object such intelligence is. Let me protect you, mark you out, keep Senestat from eliminating by force or legal expediency on you as they will with every other squad on this ring. Castor claps their hands together, and in exchange, when Senestat comes for this place, you facilitate the handover, you claim the protocols, you give us the Gardener, and I go free. Castor takes off their glasses and polishes them. You go free. He meets your eye. Do you accept? Can you even promise such a thing? Your head swims at the thought of controlling Gardener, but also at the idea of the eye being claimed by Senestat. Every person deported and rehoused, or worse, refuse. Castor takes off their glasses and polishes them. Disappointing. You begin to leave. As you approach, he speaks quietly, an urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You are of great value if you ever want to see that realized. You push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is his slow nod, perhaps a mark of resignation, or another deferential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. It doesn't matter either way. You are done with him. You head towards the cordon, Pig and the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. You arrive to chaos at the cordon. The final shutters are leaving the ramshackle docks that have formed along the edge of the gap during the flotilla's stay. As they do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the eye. The fear created by the Flux event became a series of rumors, and those rumors have driven many of their hopes. Others have staunchly doubled down on their position on the eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. You are unsure what you think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will Pig's actions this cycle have changed anything at all? You are tired of this question, and instead set out to look for your friends. You quickly spot Pig and Ash at the far side of the chaotic bay. You quickly make your way through the crowd, slipping between the gaps in the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you can hear their voices over the crowd. You try to push closer, but there are many evacuees gathered around them and their shuttle. You have made your decision, Pig, and it puts you against me. Ash is standing with one foot on the boarding ramp while Pig argues with her. The evacuees are eyeing them, eager to intervene but intimidated by Ash's evident strength and attitude. Ash, it doesn't have to be like this. Pig looks desperate, tear tracks already on their cheeks. We can find a way. Ash shakes her head. I have always protected you, Pig. I have taken you under my wing. But I understand that you are not mine to control, and you have chosen to be here and not with me, despite everything. I have chosen to stop running, Pig cries out in frustration. You can choose to stop running too. We can stay here and try to live. Don't you remember what it feels like to live, Ash? Ash turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne. What it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle. To live under the control of my mother, of the administration. To work to maintain something that no one wanted, no one needed, so that our corporation could maintain a foothold in the system. You talk as if this place, in this very same system, is any different. Why is there here but the same grind for other masters, for employers, for administrators, for those who gain from our struggles? There may not be a corporation controlling the eye, but there is control, there is power in action here. So what then, Pig shouts? You run from anyone or everyone who could ever be close to you in search of freedom, in search of some perfect place where no one has power over you? Pig is crying openly now. I want to be part of something, Ash, even if it's broken and suffering, even if it cannot be free. Ash pauses and takes a deep breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Horton anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood or by our shared need to escape. We are both just people in this system. She opens her eyes. I release you, Pig. You are free of me. Ash, please, they hold her hand. There is a life here if you want it. Ash turns and smiles at Pig. Her eyes wet now too. Then you live it for me, Pig. I can't. And she climbs up the boarding ramp. The evacuees taking their chance to climb on board too. You watch as the shuttle closes its ramp, lift off and leaves the bay. The crowds are dispersing now as they get onto the shuttles or say their goodbyes and move back into the main part of the cordon. You push past the last of them to reach Pig. The Pig doesn't turn as you come closer. Sleeper, Ash is gone. She chose to leave. Pig nods. I've known her my whole life, but they wipe their face. But since we arrived, we've been going different directions. They'll turn to face you. I'm Mr. Brer, but she'll serve Ash well. I know that. Sleeper! The shout takes you by surprise, and as you turn, you see Soul coming across the bay towards you. The last two shuttles loading up behind him. He reaches you, his suit hissing as it does. Can't believe you make an old man run across this bay to get you. He pauses to take a breath. The singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. You smile as you think of Tala, safely cradled within one of those singer ships, on her way to the starward belt, and hopefully a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Tala. What are you smiling at? Soul interrupts your thoughts. They force our hand. We have to leave now. Soul shakes his head. If we follow close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spaces out there give them a wide berth. Pilgrim's Seat will need a little time to make our way off the cordon, but I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are sticking with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied for the journey to the belt. He pauses. Anyway, I didn't plot all the way over here to tell you that. Soul looks between you and Pig with a raised eyebrow. It's now or never, Sleeper. I'm good to my word and I've kept a berth for you, but this is your last chance to take it. He scratches at his beard. Make a call. You glance out at the flotilla beyond the bay, beautiful in the light of Helion's sun. You think of the long journey to the starward belt, of the people inside the Pilgrim Seat, of the possible futures that await. Then you think of the people here on the eye, of Pig beside you, of the Bantayan, of Tala and the key that still hangs around your neck, of promises and possibilities. Stay. You open your mouth to speak and realize this is the final time you will make this choice. You will have to be sure. I'm staying. You say the words, and the moment you do, the weight of it all seems to descend upon you. You stumble a little and then stand straight, refusing to be crushed. You feel a tightness in your chest and the haze blurring your thoughts. Soul nods. Good luck, he sighs. You need it. He grips your shoulder and meets your eye. In the haze, his pitted and rough hands feel so real, so detailed that it grounds you. And then it is gone, and Soul goes with it, quickly moving to the waiting shuttle. As he does, you watch, unable to speak, your whole body pulsing. And then another hand falls on your shoulder and it grounds you once more. You turn to see Pig's bright eyes. Let's go, Sleeper. You nod, and seeing how unsteady you are on your feet, Pig puts an arm around you and steers you towards the entrance of the bay. As they do, you hear the roar, feel the wind, and as the shuttle lifts off and angles towards the flotilla, you don't turn. Instead, you keep your head down and focus on each step. As you do, you feel Pig beside you, holding a little of your weight, and you holding a little of theirs. This is how it will be for many cycles after you both leave the bay and head back into the eye. You will both hold things for each other, remind each other of the choices you made, remind each other why it is important to keep going. Despite the moments where it seems impossible, you will keep each other going. Their support will be vital when the second Flux event hits the eye, where it knocks the entire free spoke off the power grid, making the whole station lurch with a sickening motion, where it cripples systems and corrupts processes, leading sections of the station to go dark or start venting oxygen, when holding on is all you can do while the world seems to come apart around you. And yet, somehow, the eye will persist. Systems will resist total collapse in ways that will seem inexplicable to many, but to you and Pig, they will signal the awakening of a new force within the station. That new force will bring with it new challenges and new possibilities in equal measure. Strange growths will be reported all around the station in the wake of the Flux event. Fungal crusts pushing through pipes and wiring. The eye will go wild and festoon, becoming a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. There will be a strange and unsettling beauty to this paradigm shift, as the greening of the station turns it from a corporate ruin to some altogether new assemblage of biological and mechanical structures. Rika will take on this challenge with energy that seems impossible for her age, and until her final day, she will delight in the new mysteries the eye and its garden produce. And as this new era consolidates around the station, you will find yourself in the Bantayan motorcycles, working to keep the place alive. The cycle will invite Amphis to come make use of the kitchen. Will go from a one-off event to a regular occurrence, and so the Bantayan will be filled with spacers eager to try the preparations of the station's now abundant mushrooms. On occasion, after a long shift at the Bantayan, you will hear a sound of the stray meowing, and you will crumble up some food and sit and watch the cat eat, as if it's the only thing in your world that matters. However, into all this newness, the bad old ways will still intrude. Sandestead, frustrated by the eye's resilience, will begin to send more physical threats, and supply ships and traders will suddenly stop arriving, stopped by a blockade of corporate militia. Life on the eye will be punctuated by white channel broadcasts from Sandestead, stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, staking a claim on the system. Meanwhile, Revenge hardliners will fizzle out, losing their grip on the Revenge Council. In their wake, Helene will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Revenge overreach, returning them to the caretaker role they had always intended to fulfill. As the cycles roll on and the threats gather, new broadcasts will join them, sent by Conway extractions, making counterclaims on assets within the Helion system. And many on the eye will grow quiet, losing their appetite for debating these political machinations as they tilt inexorably towards a corporate war. And ever on, the eye will spin, growing now in its strange ways, haunted by strange new growths and toasting cultures of increasing resilience. As the Helion system descends into crisis, you will find comfort in the fungal patterns, the familiar conversations, the spices and the smells that will accumulate around you as your body continues its unavoidable decay. They will settle around you like a veil, and in time it will be impossible to see the eye without seeing its many variants and versions, past and potential futures, and this basking of the world that will mark your approaching end. And one cycle, far from now, the accumulation of memories, of tastes, of people and places and moments will be the last thing you let go of. But for now, there's only you and Peak, arms around each other, walking slowly out of the bay, two figures born of crippled systems, linked together, continuing despite your origins. And in this frozen moment, you focus on only the next step, because that is the only way you have learned to persist. And to persist is to believe that a future, any future at all, is possible. Yeah, that's the real ending, I suppose. Oh, okay, I can see the other ending as well. I think. We'll see. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that was the real ending. Ah! Wait, let me see what else is there. Okay. Yes. You should go too. No, I'm sure now they look like the flotilla. This is the way it should be. Leave. I'm leaving. You say the words and they seem to carry your heart out of your mouth with them. You feel lightheaded, spinning, as if you tumble out of the space into open space. So Knots, come on then, let's go. You freeze for a moment, feeling Pig's presence beside you, and the moment to speak disappears. Good luck, Pig. Pig nods. You too. They manage to squeeze out the words before going silent. And then you are walking with Soul across the bay, almost without trying, your step light and your head spinning. Soul grips your hand as to help you up onto the shuttle ramp, and as he does, you feel the thick texture of his worn hands in great detail, as if you were touching some created landscape. You grip them tightly as you get on board. As the ramp begins to close, you see Pig watching at a distance, their face half covered by their hair. They raised a hand in farewell, and as they do, you see something in their expression that you can't quite place. A sense of determination, perhaps, or compressed anger. Something that will drive them forward from this point on, to a future you can believe will be better. And then the shuttle ramp closes, and the metal box you are inside rumbles and tilts. Some of the evacuees refuse screech at the sudden movement, but they settle as the ship carves its way out of the bay towards the flotilla, towards whatever comes next. When you arrive there, you will find the berth, just as Soul promised, tucked in among hundreds of others, like a strange neighborhood of tiny flats. The communal canteens, the water supply, the farm stacks. These shared spaces will become the center of this new reality. The places where stories are shared, where signals and messages from the ships of the system and the eye itself are interpreted and discussed. You find yourself unable to resist listening in to any conversation about the eye, any scrap of data or detail. This is how you will hear that another Flux event hit not long after the flotilla left. One that knocked out the power for the whole free smoke, they say, disconnecting the hub from the rim for many cycles, one that crippled many systems and cost many lives. But the flotilla, having departed with enough time, will outrun the Flux, and you and all the evacuees will be thankful for this mercy. You will also hear the strange growths that people started reporting around the station in the wake of this event, fungal crust that push through pipes and wiring. Rumors of the eye going wild and festoon will travel quickly around the pilgrim seat, telling stories of a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of small clouds and grounded rosebuds. Across the system, and as your long journey across the system becomes a dull routine of the same faces and places, you will delight to overhear that the eye persists despite everything, that crippled systems are rebooted and replaced, that the new seasons of growth and decay will bring with them plenitude of resources and surprises. You'll hear that her vanished hardliners have fizzled out. We read that. These messages will set the rumor mill of the pilgrim seat spinning, and you will rarely have a moment where you don't hear mention of the company and its claims. Occasionally on the long trip, you make a pilgrimage to the dust houses on the supply shuttle and gather club heads from among the mulch. You talk with Aki as they are processed into stabilizer and hear of how the plants are changing, adapting, becoming ever intertwined in this new and unprecedented ecosystem. And then, in the final part of your journey, as you reach the far parts of the system where the fuel signals travel and the starward belt girds the system like a defensive ring, there will be distant reports of another fleet entering the system under the banner of the all-too-familiar Conway extractions. By the time this happens, you and the evacuees will begin to discuss these events less and less, perhaps in the hope of avoiding being implicated in the coming corporate war. And finally, one cycle far from this moment, you will arrive at the asteroid port in the starward belt, one you have yet to know, and you and all the evacuees will be released into it. In that moment, half a system and hundreds of cycles away from the eye, you'll think of your time back there with equal sadness and fondness. And then you will step out of the pilgrim seat, never to return, and once more try to make a future for yourself that might be different to those false futures promised to you so many times. But for now, you remain on the shuttle, angling its way towards the base of the pilgrim seat, carrying the hopes of all who tremble quietly within it. And in this moment, you feel the eye release you, just as Ash released Pig, and it feels so good. Aww. Yeah, I guess that is it for Citizen Sleeper. That actually took a bit more time than I anticipated, so maybe I'll just end it here. Yeah, it was like 1 hour 30. Yeah, I think that's a decent time to end it. But yeah, this honestly was a really good game. I really enjoyed it. Like, the dialogue and the narrative was really strong, obviously because it's a tabletop, first and foremost. But yeah, just like everything about this game was very fun to experience. And yeah, very very happy to have played it basically. So next week will be a one-off game, which will be called What Comes After. So that'll be very fun. And after that, I actually have not really quite decided what I want to play. So but hopefully next week I will figure out something. But yeah, until then, next week it'll be a one-off. I don't know. I might just do it, and I might just do another one-off after that. But we'll see. Anyway, that'll be for next week to talk about. But anyway, thank you all for going through this game with me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys, enjoyed this experience as much as I did. I think I definitely have had my share of this game, and I mean it's very good. I'm very excited, and when Season Sleeper 2 comes out, I probably will play it as well on stream, because this has been a very nice game. But yeah, I won't babble on for too long. But yeah, until then, all of you guys, stay safe, wash your hands, all that fun stuff, and I will see you then. Alright, goodbye!
you.